I do my research, don't you worry about that.
Research.
I had the butterfly clips and the terrible fashion. You can Google it. I don't recommend it.
Girls5Eva, Emmy nominated and back for series 2. You guys must be chuffed.
Oh, we are chuffed.
We are so chuffed.
It's a good word over here if people don't use it.
I hope that isn't something dirty.
Yeah,
but yes,
I actually wouldn't mind if it was.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm like, it's still in shock and in a beautiful way, because the reward really feels the time we get to spend together and doing something we love. It really feels like that should be the reward, but the fact that other people actually watch it and feel the love and really enjoy the show.
I'll be honest, I was covering someone at work today and I found out I was doing a junket for a show called Girls5Eva, and I thought, I am in trouble here. Maybe I'm not the target market. But you watch like the first episode and that writing like grabs you straight away. And as a man in his 30s, it's fun to revisit some of the tropes of the music industry back then and things that we all deep down secretly kind of love. How much of a nostalgia trip was it for you guys?
Like tons. I mean, as someone who was coming up in the music industry, we both were. And, during that time, I not even really made the decision, but I sort of evolved into an artist that wasn't really gonna go down this route, but it was always like a question mark. There was something so alluring about the idea of being in a girl group and the camaraderie of that. So we've talked about this before, that it feels like we're getting to live out this dream.
It's the most fun, and I think what you said is totally correct. I think there's a possibility that somebody could think like, oh, Girls5Eva, but listen, if you didn't live through the 90s or the early 2000s, you certainly have seen the videos and know the time quite well. I actually have a 13-year-old, Birdie's almost 14, and Birdie dresses like it's 1997, so
everything comes
everything's coming back.
Yeah.
But the nostalgia for us has been just the most fun. At one point, we were doing a flashback and they put a wig on me, and I was like, well, keep cutting it and flipping it out and flipping it out. And when we were done, we realized that she had given me my exact haircut that I had on Dawson's Creek.
I had no idea when I was in my 20s and throwing everything against the wall to see if anything would happen, that it was actually the training I would need for this show. I had no idea that anything I was not successful at in my 20s would come back to be very helpful, 20 years later. So that's actually just something for all you younger women out there and younger people out there to know, that like some of the worst things that probably happened to you could actually be quite beneficial at some point in a weird way later. Yeah. It's fun.
I was going to ask whether you guys were ever tempted to go down that route, because I think you both had like debut albums at a similar time, like 2001, 2. I think Renee, you'd already like won an award. Was it a John Lennon like songwriting award or something in like the late 90s?
In love with you.
And
I
and
can't
so like,
believe you know that.
hey man, I do my research. Don't you worry about that.
Research.
So there must have been a moment.
Did you know that I won a John Lennon songwriting contest?
No, I had no idea.
Did you know there was a John Lennon songwriting contest? That's the funniest thing.
So there must have been a time in both your careers where it's somewhat a friend or someone in A&R might have suggested to go to kind of band together and go down like a girl group thing, or was this never even in the back of your mind?
I was in one called Female. You didn't hear of us?
No, I didn't.
Female?
No,
I did not hear that.
I'm joking. Research. We didn't make it. I had forgotten myself. Yeah, it wasn't.
Literally didn't remember that
at
she
all.
had done this until the end of our press junket.
We didn't get signed. We didn't make anything.
She's like, oh, I was in
We
one.
probably did make a demo, but God knows where it is. And yeah, it was. I tried. And she, fortunately, was very successul.
Well, I was also I was 27 actually when my first record came out, so I think I was watching it all happen. It was like, oh, I can't. That's not gonna be for me. I can't get into spandex onesies.
You guys were very much part of the culture though back then. Busy, you've already mentioned like Dawson's Creek, and there was like Freaks and Geeks and ER, and that was very much part of like the fabric of entertainment of that time. And Paula, you were part of the SNL cast throughout like the mid-late 90s into the noughties, so you would have been kind of working with and sometimes lampooning some of these types of characters.
Absolutely. I used to write a sketch called 6 Degrees Celsius, and it was a boy group, and it was Jimmy Fallon and that whole gang in it, and Will Ferrell played kind of the Ron Perlman, right? Ron Perlman.
No.
No.
Yeah,
What's
the
his
actor.
name?
The actor.
Lou Pearlman.
Sorry. Yes. So I used to write a thing called 6 Degrees Celsius, and it was lampooning the boy groups. And then we would have like In Sync on, and they were, JT was like so young with his little curls, and he came on and would do a little guest thing on it. So it was part of that SNL machine of making fun of this current music climate, and they were music guests oftentimes. So Spice Girls and all of them. So I was around a lot of it.
And I was like literally a teen at the Teen Choice Awards in like 1999.
God.
So I mean, I had the butterfly clips and the terrible fashion. You can Google it. I don't recommend it, but I did survive it. I came out on the other side.
There's a very specific type of kind of like pop music and part of the industry that this show covers. That reminded me about a lot of acts that were kind of on the old like cassette tape or Walkman like back in the day. What were you guys listening to in the late 90s? If you're brave enough to tell me.
Oh God, brave. TLC.
Proud of it, yeah.
SWV.
Yeah.
Gosh, there's so many groups.
I was doing a lot of, I actually was a big Britney fan, big Christina Aguilera fan. I was, doing the solo artist route, so I was doing maybe slightly more, although In Sync and,
Oh my God, loved them.
let's see, Destiny's Child was a big one for me too.
You never went like, were you kind of a double denim girl, or were you kind of like the sparkly crop top sort of vibe at the time?
I was never.
I was.
I
I was, absolutely.